Alrighty, welcome back everyone. It is LaughNgamez here. I'm back with another Starcraft 2 1 vs 1 replay cast. It should be a good one here. It's going to be a Protoss versus Zerg on the map Acid Plant. So, spawning up in the top left-hand side of the map, it is Railgan. Now, if you guys are unfamiliar with Railgan, he's a pretty high-level Zerg player on the European ladder, and I'm actually amazed that I haven't cast one of his games yet because he's actually someone who publishes every single one of his replays, and that's a really cool thing for pro gamers to do. So, I mean, they can't be, it's not like you can be upset that pro gamers hide their replays. It's very important for them to hide their strategies and show off games that they really do just want to show off in tournaments and stuff. But the fact that Railgan does upload all of his replays and stuff is really cool. And now if you guys were looking in the screen in the bottom left, or in the bottom of the tile there, or in the title of this video, spawning down in the bottom right hand side of the map, it's Infinity Gaming's Namshar. Now if you guys are really into the Starcraft 2 scene, you'll know that Namshar, he's a Swedish Zerg player, but the thing is he's playing Protoss right now. I also know that Namshar has been streaming a fair bit more lately, but so yeah, he's sort of on the other side of the coin right now. Instead of being on the giving end of a proxy hatchery, Namshar, the usual Zerg player and the Zerg main pro player, is receiving a proxy hatchery coming out of Railgun. So this is really interesting to see. I saw this replay and I thought, all right, a pro gamer Offracing, I gotta cast this. And so yeah. Okay, he's now pulled 2 probes that have started working away on this hatchery, but here comes the rest of the boys. And they are tasing the bejeebus out of that hatchery. That zealot was chrono boosted out, so it's now going to begin working away on this. So just forcing the probes off the line is Railgan, then getting his hatchery behind this. This wasn't an intended quick rush or anything like that. He may be able to start the Evo. Okay, guys, if you've never seen this, sometimes Zergs do cancel the hatchery and start the Evo, and there it goes. And that's another big pain for the Protoss player, has to pull the probes for even longer. And that's because the hatchery leaves behind a little bit, just a tiny bit of creep after it finishes. But that drone, unfortunately for Railgan, does go down there. I feel as if this game started off really quick, and it certainly did with that proxy hatchery. Now, a third hatchery is on the way for Railgan, so that build was pretty much just to slow down his opponent. Now, an Adept is on the way behind this, so he was forced to make the Zealot. His mining was delayed a little bit, and I'm not actually sure how the math on something like this works out, because usually a build like a proxy hatchery gets a varying amount of damage done. However, Namshar, he chrono boosted out the Zealot, he pulled the probes, and so really, I guess the focus of that build for the Zerg player is to throw the Protoss player off a bit, because Railgan, he was maybe trying to force a big reaction out of Namshar, and Namshar reacted just appropriately. So it looks like, I mean, despite that early hatchery, it is going to sort of normalize as a game. I'm sure it would be interesting to ask pro gamers. It's like, okay, exactly who is ahead after that? I mean, it's tough to say. Railgan, he did get up his fast third hatchery behind this. Namshar, he has out his Adept. He's got his Stargate on the way. So, I mean, things are pretty equal, all things said and done. Railgan maybe down a few drones, and this Adept's actually going to be able to get 1 or 2. Looks like this Adept for Namshar gets 2 drones, so that's a very nice pick-off. Railgan, he got up his pretty quick third hatchery, or I guess technically his 4th hatchery if you counted the one that was built over here. But he is down on the drones a little bit after actually just taking a closer look at that count. I mean, Zerg, you generally don't want to be too far behind on the drones, so we'll see how many he squeezes out. His Overlord, of course, is going to see the Stargate as the Phoenix is killing it. So we'll see how well Railgan's going to be able to react to what Namshar's thrown out. I mean, Namshar, he's a very, very skilled Zerg player. He's one of the top Zergs in Europe. Probably one of the most underrated Zergs in Europe, but now his Phoenix is moving across the map. He's got that Oracle on the way, so he's really going into a standard Protoss versus Zerg build right now. He's starting 2 more Adepts. Now these will either be used to secure the 3rd base, or they'll be used for a bit of an odd-timed move out. But for now, it really is about this Oracle and what it's going to be able to get done. But Railgan, he's got his 2 Queens in position. He should be more than fine in order to shoo this away. I mean, the Oracle, it's going to come on in. It's actually going to focus down 2 of the drones. So 2 drones, that's sort of like the Oracle tax. The Oracle pays a lot of health and gets the 2 drones. So really just the standard amount going down there. Now, the Lings, they didn't actually manage to get in from the seam of things. I was thinking maybe they did for a second, but no. Nothing, no major scout, and those Adepts are moving out to take that 3rd base. Now, Railgun, he didn't take too much damage to that. He's getting up his lair, squeezing out drones here and there. The main thing is that he has seen his opponent go for a third base, so he doesn't need to be too worried about any big timing attack. You always got to be on your toes as a Zerg for Protoss timings, but right now he will have a little bit of time, and double Robo's actually on the way for Namshar, so it's not like he's throwing up a Twilight Council and going for Glaives. He's really just transitioning here, but here comes in the Oracles once again, and I mean, 2 Oracles is a lot better than 1. That Spore Crawler's working away on one of the Oracles, but it's not actually working away on the injured one, so those Oracles getting a bit more damage done than they should have, and we've seen 11 drones go down so far to the harassment of Namshar. Namshar, I mean, he's got pretty good control with those Oracles. Adept's going to clean up that Zergling. Railgun's lost a few of those, just trying to find out exactly what his opponent's going for. And back on his side of the map, Railgun, he's starting his +1, getting up his Hydra and Baneling Den. So going to be playing, or Hydra Den and Baneling Nest, pardon me. But yeah, so going to be playing that sort of standard Ling Bane Hydra style. Zergs really like that. As, this isn't, as I said, or I'm not sure if I have said that yet, this is on the old patch, as, well, I'm recording this, guys, hours before the new patch goes out and just waiting for those new replays to start coming in, but I thought this would be a fun game to cast in the meantime. But yeah, I didn't mention it, but I haven't necessarily cast a lot on my YouTube channel lately. I've uploaded some VODs from tournaments and stuff I've done, but as far as just 1v1 casts, I have skipped a day or two, and I've been trying to do one a day, but of course, can't just keep going all the time. I've also been casting a lot for WESG. Just sort of filling the time as these lings were getting on in there. So yeah, if you guys were wondering what I've, been up to, I've been uploading some VODs, organizing a few tournaments in the background, but I'm just glad to be casting this awesome game with Namshar Offracing right now. Railgun getting up towards the 4th base. Supply-wise, it's pretty even. However, when supply is even, that's generally not the best for the Zerg player. Ling's trying to get on in for Railgun, so this situation, it's not bad. Not bad for Namshar. However, Railgun, he's now getting up his good Hydra count, but Namshar, he's getting up all of his gateways, charge, +1, and most importantly, that Psystorm. Namshar, he's a Zerg player off-racing, and if there's a tool that players like to use when they off-race, it is, as Protoss, it is Psystorm. But, Ling's working away on some rocks, nothing too major going on just yet. I mean, we are seeing those Immortals coming out for Namshar. He's starting to build up that count. Immortals really are the backbone of that Protoss army. Psystorms and High Templar provide the support, but Immortals really are the backbone. Namshar getting up a fair few High Templar. Looks like he's gonna be trying to secure his 4th base. These Lings still working away on these rocks, maybe to be a potential attack path for Railgun later on. As I mean, he is going up in supply a fair bit now. He's just producing a lot of Hydras, a lot of Lings. And okay, these Lings, they actually got to get on out of there. They almost finished their work. But a Lurker Den is on the way for Railgun, so he's not just going for a Hydraling Bane timing or anything like that. He is thinking about going later into the game. And I mean, Lurkers, in this situation, not the worst for the Zerg player, but it looks like that Railgun may actually be pushing in while getting out that Lurker Den. He's got 17 Banelings morphing. So he really is going to be trying to get some hurt on Namshar. Good Psystorms go down so far, connecting with a lot of the Banelings, and actually fantastic force fields. Great spell casting from Namshar so far. Now Railgun, he's still got all these Hydras though. Some Banelings rolling forward right now. No Psystorms or anything going out, so one of those sentries does get picked off. Namshar, he wants to be able to hold on to his 4th base right now. Banelings rolling on in, once again looking for connections. They are getting focused down a fair bit. However, here comes a few more for Railgun. The 4th base has fallen for Namshar. Actually a bit of mismicro there as his Immortals waddle a little bit too far forward. A Psystorm going down, trying to buy time. We've got another Immortal popping out. The Archon and Immortal just got to pull back. We need to see some more Zealots warping in for Namshar. He's got some more Psystorm, and okay, some good storms going down there. Starting to clean up these Hydras. The Oracle's even coming on in. The Hydras trying to pick those off. The Oracle does go down. However, looks like that Namshar has managed to hold on. Now he can restart his 4th base, but he did lose that. So it wasn't a flawless hold or anything like that. Meanwhile, as this is going on, of course, Railgun, he has his Hydra Den up, so he can always make some of those, or his Lurker Den up, pardon me. And he is making some of those Lurkers. So now he can choose to go into that tech if he wants to. Maybe just make a ton of lurkers and try and dive on top of Namshar. We'll see sometimes Zerg players just really try and seize the moment with those lurkers. But he's also got his +2 on the way, whereas Namshar, his +2 is finished. So these guys, they're equal on upgrades right now. Railgun, he's got an Overseer lurking around, trying to gauge his opponent's army. Sees all the Immortals, sees the High Templar as well. Now, is Railgun going to be able to push in? You got to be very careful versus that Psystorm engaging into such choke points. Looks like he may be looking for a different position right now. And Namshar, he's actually not quite prepared for this. So as I said, Zerg sometimes seize the moment. And if lurkers get between your bases as a Protoss player, you can be in a lot of trouble. There's 2 lurkers going to burrow right now. A Psystorm goes out for Namshar, just trying to get on top of this army. However, these Hydras doing a good job avoiding them so far. Some more Psystorms going down. A few Banelings rolling forward, but there's not too many. And there's actually just so much Psystorm for Namshar right now, and he does manage to push back Railgun. He takes the supply lead. However, while this is going on, Railgun, he's getting up a 5th base. He's got some more units rallying out. Lots of Lings on the way. I mean, there's a lot of Zealots and High Templar. There we go. I was just going to say, not many Archons, though, to counter those Lings, but here comes some Archons on the way. And Namshar, he secured his 4th base while this is going on. He's now even getting up a ton of cannons. And so he's managed to hold on, so he's in a pretty good spot. It looks like Railgun may be planning a bit of a Baneling run by these Lings. They've got Banelings written all over them. And there they are. However, Namshar, he's managed to build this great wall. He's got 3 cannons and some High Templar in position. So I don't think this Baneling counterattack is going to get much done for Railgun. Maybe he does just need to really commit to that mass lurker, but and he's got a fair few, but he's coming on in here a little bold, and that may actually be a miss rally. A lot of those lurkers are going down, and Railgun actually thinking maybe he just needs to go for it. However, that was a pretty big rally mistake there as the lurkers ran right on him. I mean, that was a lot of lurkers going down. A pretty big mistake there. Meanwhile, Namshar, he is investing into some Stargates, into another fleet, or another Stargate and a fleet beacon, pardon me. But, so yeah, he can eventually get into carriers if he so chooses. A few Banelings do roll in for Railgun. Good pullback on the probes by Namshar, though, and Namshar actually may be thinking about moving out. But time really is on his side at this point. He's just getting up his Graviton Catapult, getting up his mothership. He can begin building carriers when he can afford it. I mean, carriers are pretty expensive, though, so it may open him up a little bit investing into those carriers and not investing just, say, into more gateway units. But, I mean, Namshar with a pretty solid lead right now. Okay, what's Railgun going to do? It looks like he's planning a pretty big surround right now. He doesn't have too many Banelings. I mean, if he had more Banelings coming from this side, I mean, he's going for it right now. Some good Psystorms going down, connecting on this army. However, actually a recall gets forced. That was enough for Railgun as he pushes back Namshar's army there. I mean, I was talking about that, but just the Lings enough. Just, I mean, Namshar, he wasn't set up, so he wasn't ready to receive those Lings and Hydras, as he was pretty much Psystorming his own army at that point. So forcing the recall is a nice move out of Railgun. However, time still on Namshar's side as this game goes on. We are seeing a Hive and a Spire go up for Railgun, so planning for later on in the game. But I mean, this Lingbane Hydra, it does start to run out of effectiveness. However, some Banelings now maybe looking to get some connections. They were maybe going for probes. However, they decide just to engage those Zealots right now. A lot of these Zealots are getting picked off. However, there's still all these Immortals and High Templar. That's pretty much the main army composition of Namshar right now. However, this is a lot of Hydra. If Railgun can take a good fight and bait out most of these storms, he'll be in a fine spot. However, there is a lot of High Templar and a lot of Psystorms out of these guys. Like another 6 storms or so. Now, production-wise, we're seeing Namshar. He's still up on supply. He's getting out, just starting to build up that carrier count. And that's going to become very scary for the Zerg player. Meanwhile, Railgun, he's got a pretty decent bank going for him, so he can sort of, you know, tech wisely. But he eventually is going to have to deal with a mass carrier army. 1 or 2 can be dealt with by Hydras, but as that count grows, it becomes harder and harder. A nice snipe with Zealots picking off the 6th base of his opponent. Now, Namshar also attacking with Zealots towards this other base. There's spores at this location, or spines at this location, which is very nice for Railgun, being able to clean those up, not taking too much damage there. Might even want to see him throw up a few more, and there they are, actually. Very nice to see that. But some Zealots now moving towards that 6th base again. That has not been rebuilt. Meanwhile, it's just carriers on the production tab, and we're seeing Corruptors out of Railgun, because eventually you do need Corruptors to deal with the mass carrier. However, I mean, it can be pretty rough trying to engage into Psystorm and carriers with just Corruptors. I mean, there's going to be the Vipers out, but feedback's pretty darn good versus Vipers as well, so it really will come down to the engagement a lot. I mean, the ground army for Namshar, it actually isn't too strong. As I mean, there's a lot of Immortals in High Templar, but beyond that, like a few Banelings rolling, they could get some pretty devastating connections. But look at this, Namshar, look at all these Zealots he's got. He's securing his 5th base right now. He's just got Zealots to the north and to the west. Just looking to go for run-bys, but they are now going to join up with the main army, and that will add a lot of buffer to that. But for now, Railgan, I mean, he's not maxed out. He's on 5 bases, but eventually you got to deal with this late-game Protoss army. And here it comes. I mean, he's got a few units out, however, they are not ready to receive this. There's a handful of carriers now, but still very terrifying. And it looks like Namshar may just be ready to move on out. He's pushing out. He always has a recall if he oversteps. So not being too cautious right now. And look at this. He knows he can actually force Railgan off this base. Railgan needs to get a good engagement. He's making 9 Broodlords, but Broodlords are not going to help you out versus those carriers, but there's only 3, so maybe the Hydras are up to the task. However, there's only 7 Hydras right now. He needs to get out more Hydras. I mean, the Broodlords can engage the ground army and maybe get on top of these High Templar, but there is still the carriers he's got to worry about, and there's not much anti-air. Look at this. These Broodlords are going to start falling here. Now, a few Corruptors come forward to help on out. Broodlords want to pursue this army. A good abduct, but there's actually not that much anti-air for Railgan to pick off that mothership. So, I mean, a good abduct, but not getting what he needs there. He's producing a lot more Hydras, squeezing out a few more Corruptors. I mean, if you can take a fantastic fight versus the Protoss, but look at this. Some counter-harassment, even bringing High Templar in to engage with this, picking off some of these Hydras, getting some good storms go down. And I mean, it looks like that Namshar is just starting to choke out his opponent. A potential 6th base going to be killed off there, it looks like. And there's just this Protoss army at the Zerg's natural right now. Now these Broodlords, I mean, if they can take out the High Templar and the ground army, there's always a chance, but there's just not that much anti-air. The mothership gets abducted once again, but it survives once again as Namshar pulls back. He's now storming on top of the Broodlords. The Interceptor's just starting to whittle down these Broodlords. Meanwhile, the 5th base is in disarray. The 4th base is gone. The 6th base denied, and now it's looking pretty rough for Railgan. As Namshar is looking good to be taking this. Another carrier rolls forward. It looks like there may be enough anti-air for Railgan to maybe push this back, but there is not. GG gets called as Namshar manages to take the game. Okay, guys, if you guys enjoyed the cast, feel free to leave a like on this video. Feel free to subscribe. It was my first one in like a day or two. It's easy to get out of it, or it might have even been a few more than a day or two, but yeah, always awesome to be casting these games. I, for one, am really looking forward to the new patch. If you guys are enjoying the content, feel free to subscribe, as I'm always going to be putting out more and more. But otherwise, I shall see you guys next time, and thanks for watching. Bye-bye.